6-1 Danzo wants to be Hokage. Be a dog shadow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, in the Hokage building, a group of high-level officials were sitting on the sofa, including the elders of the village, Mitokado Hamura and Uchiha Koharu, Shimura Danzo, and Nara Shikahisa, and Jiraiya, who was specifically recalled to the village. Yagyu Satoru crossed his legs, leaned on the soft sofa, held a lollipop in his mouth, glanced at the heavy rain outside the window, let out a breath and said, "The weather really makes the atmosphere. I didn't expect that Orochimaru would invade the village even now." Jiraiya sighed and recalled some previous experiences. He has been investigating the whereabouts of renegade Uchiha Itachi recently, and when he heard that Sarutobi Hiruzen died in battle, even he was surprised. Orochimaru actually knows how to invade the village and kill his mentor. Did you really not think of it? Yagyu Satoru pointed at Jiraiya's heart with a lollipop, and smiled lightly. Stop lying, tell the truth. While Jiraiya is investigating Uchiha Itachi's whereabouts, he is also investigating Orochimaru's whereabouts. Jiraiya said that he didn't expect it, because he would invade the village. How funny. Don't talk about useless things. What the village needs most at the moment is Hokage. A village without Hokage will soon lose its authority. Shimura Danzo held a cane and looked at the high-level people present with a flat face. The old man recommended himself as the 5th Hokage, and I will protect the village for Sarutobi. That he is very excited now, because there is no one in the village who is more suitable to be the 5th Hokage than him. Mitokado Hamura and Uchiha Koharu, both looking at Shimura Danzo at the same time. Danzo has the longest qualifications and is indeed suitable for Hokage. Juanfen Koharu nodded slightly. After Sarutobi Hiruzen died in battle, apart from the two elders, Shimura Danzo was the village's oldest ninja. Appropriate indeed, 5th Hokage. Sorry, Danzo-sama. Nara cast a deep look at Shimura Danzo, and then at Yagyu Satoru. On behalf of the Jonin of the whole village, I recommend Yagyu Satoru as the 5th Hokage. This is the unified suggestion of the Jonin of the whole village. Nara Shikamaru said respectfully. He had always felt that Shimura Danzo had a big problem. Although he didn't figure out Shimura Danzo's secret plan, he felt from beginning to end that Shimura Danzo was dangerous. He is an impatient old fox. After Sarutobi Hiruzen died in battle, Shimura Danzo would have wanted the position of Hokage. If Shimura Danzo is in charge of Hokage, then the village will probably undergo earth-shaking changes. So yesterday he united with a group of Jonin, and after some discussions, he unanimously decided to elect Yagyu Satoru as the 5th Hokage. This is a voting letter from all the ninjas in the village. Nara Shikamaru took out a box with a lot of envelopes inside. I seem to be very reliable to have the support of so many people. Yagyu Satoru looked at the large number of envelopes in the box, and even he was a little surprised. Pineapple Head read the letter. Yes, Mr. Lu Sheng. Nara Lu didn't hesitate for a long time. He thought that the reason why Yagyu Satoru asked him to read the letter in front of the high level, it should be to put pressure on Shimura Danzo. After all, the strongest Mr. Lu Sheng must have a very precise plan. Reading letters? It's just nonsense. Now we are discussing important matters. Is it time for you to make nonsense? Shimura Danzo said in a deep voice. Mito Yenmen took a sip of tea and said, there is no need to read the letter, Yagyu Satoru, you are very strong, but your character is still too young, compared to Danzo who is more calm. Both elders are supportive, with Shimura Danzo serving as 5th Hokage. The old man talks a lot of nonsense nowadays. Yagyu Satoru looked at Nara Lugio, and chuckled. You read yours. There's no need to talk to these old dogs. It's hard for the three of them to come up with a single truth. Yagyu Satoru, watch your words. Shimura Danzo looked at Yagyu Satoru coldly with a flash of anger in his eyes. Shut up, I'm talking and killing you. Yagyu Satoru's voice turned cold. You. Shimura Danzo looked ugly, but did not continue speaking. Now it's too much time to fight against Yagyu Satoru, at least have to wait. After the pupil power of the right eye recovers, Jiraiya secretly sighed. Every time he went back to the village, he was in a lot of trouble, and it was easier to travel around the world to investigate information, while hugging the beauty, while investigating information. This is the life I want. Ahem, I'm sorry. Nara Shikamaru coughed lightly, took the envelope and opened it, reading the contents inside. The content is that Mr. Lu Sheng is a powerful ninja. He has very correct beliefs and a firm will, so I elected him as the 5th Hokage. This is a letter of recommendation from Sarutobi Asuma. Nara Shurjo put away the letter, and then picked up another letter. Lu Sheng is very strong, no one is more suitable than him to be the 5th Hokage. This is Shi Hihong's recommendation letter. Nara Shurjo picked up another letter. Lu Sheng, although he has a very selfish personality, he is also a reliable person. If he is around, he should be able to get along with himself, right? This is a letter of recommendation from Hitaki Kakashi. Nara Shurjo picked up the next letter. Mr. Lu Sheng, after a few minutes, Nara Lujo gradually finished reading all the recommendation letters from Jonin and Chunin. All the Jonin and Chunin in the village have unified support, and Yagyu Satoru is the 5th Hokage. The following is the recommendation letter from the villagers. Nara Lujo took out the second 370 box, took out a letter inside and read it. Yagyu Satoru is really handsome, so I support him as Hokage, and I want to be his girlfriend if possible. After Nara Lujo finished reading, a flash of embarrassment flashed in his eyes. Enough. Shimura Danzo looked at Yagyu Satoru with a flat face, and said in a deep voice, "You don't have the consciousness to protect the village, so I am more suitable to be Hokage." It never occurred to him that there was no one in the whole village who supported him as Hokage. The only people who support him are the 2 elders of the village and ninjas from all Umbu roots, but the votes of the Jonins are meaningless, and the final decision is still at the top. Don't be brave, if you're so Hokage, go to the village next door to build a kennel, and make a dog shadow for fun. Yagyu Satoru waved his hand and looked at Shimura Danzo with disgust. Dog shadow? Everyone in the audience was slightly taken aback. Some people wanted to laugh but tried not to laugh. The ruler of Shimura Danzo Umbu root, but also has a very strong strength, has the absolute right to speak in the village. It is the existence under Hokage and above 10,000 people, and actually being despised by Yagyu Satoru as a shadow of a dog. How dare Yagyu Satoru say this? P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets. I knelt down and kowtowed. 6-2 slap and fly, Danzo #039, S right arm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Don't challenge my bottom line. With anger in his eyes, Shimura Danzo slowly grasped his bandaged right arm. He is a person who can endure humiliation, but at this time he was very angry when he was mocked by Yagyu Satoru. It's okay for me to be a Hokage, but the village needs to set a date. Yagyu Satoru raised a finger and said with a chuckle, "From now on, the whole village will celebrate my wedding anniversary with Xiaojiang every day." As soon as this remark came out, everyone in the audience was speechless. From now on, the village will celebrate the wedding anniversary of Yagyu Satoru and Tsunade every day. The whole village celebrates. It's outrageous, but everyone can also see that Yagyu Satoru is joking, because he has no intention of being Hokage at all. Don't mess around, Shimura Danzo said. Then I recommend the Fox Kid as Hokage, just as he is clamoring to be Hokage every day. Lu Xingyu teased. What did you take Hokage for? Shimura Danzo said angrily. Your ambition is something I despise, can you understand what I mean? Yagyu Satoru's smile disappeared, and he looked at Shimura Danzo indifferently. He is telling Shimura Danzo, the so-called gap. The atmosphere in the audience was heavy, and the scene became rigid. That's the end of the joke. I recommend the lecherous old man as Hokage. Lu Xing smiled and pointed to Jiraiya. Udatane Kohara looked at Jiraiya, nodded slightly and said, You, who are called one of the Sannin, are indeed qualified to be Hokage. She doesn't have anyone in the team, she just wants to choose a good Hokage who can protect the village. Shimura Danzo looked ugly. He missed the position of Hokage once due to weakness, and his greatest ambition now is to become Hokage. Guard the village like Sarutobi Hiruzen. Forget it, I'm more suitable for investigating intelligence than being a Hokage. Jiraiya touched her chin and said seriously, I have a suitable candidate. Everyone present was wondering, is there a suitable candidate? Could anyone be a better Hokage than Yagyu Satoru, Shimura Danzo, Jiraiya, etc.? Tsunade, one of the Sannin with me, is the granddaughter of first Hokage and the hero of the village. No one is more suitable for Hokage. Jiraiya said seriously, Tsunade is the most suitable person for Hokage, because Tsunade is very powerful, and he is still very popular in the village. Yagyu Satoru said, I veto it. He plans to travel around the world with Tsunade after training the 7th class. If Tsunade becomes Hokage, the plan will be ruined. Boy, don't rush to veto, just think about it. Jiraiya put his arms around Yagyu Satoru and whispered in his ear, you will stay in the village because of the 7th squad for a long time. If Tsunade can be Hokage, you can see her every day. Jiraiya whispered, this is the assist I, as an elder, tried my best to give you. Yagyu Satoru held Jiraiya's face, and said lightly, lustful old man, your purpose is to use Katsuna to keep me in the village temporarily, right? Have you been discovered? Haha, you kid is too smart. Jiraiya scratched her head in embarrassment and laughed heartily. Tsunade's strength and popularity are very suitable for Hokage, and most importantly, Tsunade is Yagyu Satoru. This invincible man is not one of the most beloved women. If Tsunade can serve as Hokage, then Yagyu Satoru will stay in the village steadily for the time being. It can be described as the best of both worlds. But he never expected that Yagyu Satoru would see through his plan carefully and carefully. Yagyu Satoru is too smart, which is also a big problem. Yagyu Satoru sipped the lollipop lightly, and said with a light smile, lustful old man, don't get me wrong, as long as I think about it, even Shao Gang can't keep me, he always does what he wants. Shao Gang is his top priority, but it is definitely not someone who can hinder his judgment. After thinking for a while, Yagyu Satoru said, but it is really a good thing to see the lovely Shao Gang every day, and I agree with Shao Gang as Hokage. After teaching the 7th class, just run away with Tsunade, so before that, seeing Tsunade every day is indeed a good thing. Cute. Jiraiya's mouth moved slightly. Several times before, he was almost beaten to death by Tsunade. Yagyu Satoru actually called Tsunade cute because of Tsunade's violent temper. Do you wear filters in your eyes? Udatane Koharu asked suspiciously. It is indeed possible for Tsunade to serve as Hokage, but the question is, where is Tsunade? It's okay, I know where Tsuna is. Yagyu Satoru waved his hand. Then it's decided. Mito Yenmen said. Stupid judgment, this woman Tsunade. Shimura Danzo's face was ugly, before he finished speaking. Bang! Shimura Danzo's right arm flew out, and scarlet blood flowed down to the ground. What happened in an instant caused everyone present to be stunned. Sorry, there are mosquitoes. Yagyu Satoru shook his hand with a smile on his face, and there was indeed a mosquito that was slapped to death in his palm. Bastard! Shimura Danzo's complexion changed drastically, clutching his broken right arm, staring at Yagyu Satoru. I'm afraid that mosquitoes will suck you to death, so there's no need to thank me. After all, I respect the old and love the young. Yagyu Satoru walked up to Shimura Danzo, and whispered in his ear, don't make trouble for Katsuna, otherwise you will be the one who will kill you next time. Humph. Shimura Danzo gave Yagyu Satoru a vicious look, picked up his broken right arm, and left Hokage's office quickly. Wait for the old man, one day an eye for an eye. Udatane Koharu sighed. He wanted to accuse Yagyu Satoru, but due to Yagyu Satoru's strength, all words stopped abruptly in the end. That's it, has Zhao quickly decided, I'll go first. Yagyu Satoru clasped his hands together and disappeared out of thin air. Mr. Lu Xing is fine no matter what, but he is too freewheeling. Nara Lujo pinched his forehead in a gesture of headache. Yagyu Satoru will do him as soon as he wants to, should it be lawless, or do whatever you want. Like a spoiled kid, and it happens that everyone has nothing to do with Yagyu Satoru. It's Danzo's fault this time. Jiraiya looked at the two elders, and said in a deep voice, you two elders too, please always remember, don't talk about Tsunade's problems in front of Lu Xing again. 17. No matter what Tsunade's fault is, even if it is a heinous crime, Yagyu Satoru will stand by Tsunade's side, very defensive. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down. 6-3 Hoshigaki Kisame and Uchiha Itachi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time passed slowly. 2 days later, the sun is scorching, and the sky is sunny, the whole village is being repaired. Many workers are busy early in the morning, and some ninjas who have not performed their tasks are helping to build the village, the top of a tall building. Is this the village you used to be? A man as tall as a shark, wearing a black cloak embroidered with red clouds, looked at the entire village of Konoha shinobi with interest. He is the S-rank rebel ninja of Mist Ninja Village, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen, Kisame, known as the Tailless Beast. Mr. Itachi, after seeing the old village destroyed, what are you thinking about now? Kanshi Kisame looked at Uchiha Itachi with an interested attitude. While teaming up with Uchiha Itachi, he is also responsible for monitoring Uchiha Itachi. This is the order of the Shao organization, the real leader. Let's go, carry out the mission. Uchiha Itachi didn't say much. His flat expression gave off a sense of coldness, exuding a cold aura of not disturbing strangers. Orochimaru would invade the village, and the third Hokage would die in battle. After the death of third generation, there should be some action on Danzo's side. Sasuke should be fine, right? Hoshigaki Kisame said with a faint smile, Mr. Itachi, you are such a ruthless man. After seeing the village being destroyed, you didn't dare to think about it. He is monitoring Uchiha Itachi though out of order, but he also respects Uchiha Itachi from the bottom of his heart. Boring thoughts will hinder our plans. Uchiha Itachi with the Scarlet 3 Tomo Sharingan, looking down at Uzumaki Naruto in the park in the distance. We were probably discovered by the enemy at the meatball shop just now. 660, if Yagyu Satoru appears, you are responsible for holding him back, and I will capture the 9 Tails Jinchuriki. He just went to the meatball shop and was discovered by Shihong and others on purpose. He also knows how strong Yagyu Satoru is, that's why he let Hoshigaki Kisame hold Yagyu Satoru. Yagyu Satoru, the ninja in the legend who has the strongest blood succession limit. Kisame held the sword behind him, and licked the corner of his mouth with an expectant smile on his face. I've wanted to fight him for a long time. His chakra should be delicious, right? That he has heard of Yagyu Satoru, but has not seen it yet, so he really wanted to fight with the rumored strongest ninja, blood successor limit. Do it. After Uchiha Itachi finished speaking, he disappeared out of thin air, taking advantage of Hokage's death in battle. Akatsuki intends to capture 9 Tails Jinchuriki. Dried persimmon ghost shark followed Uchiha Itachi, in the park. Grandpa 3rd generation. Uzumaki Naruto sat on the bench with a lonely expression on his face, looking at the rock statue of Hokage in the distance. He used to draw graffiti on the rock statue of Hokage to attract attention, and then he would be scolded by 3rd generation. After scolding, the two of them will also eat ramen together. Haruno Sakura walked up to Uzumaki Naruto with her school bag on her back, and said hello with a smile. Naruto, it's rare for you to be so punctual. Yagyu Satoru had previously informed the 7th squad that today he would set out to find Tsunade, one of the legendary Sannin, who served as the 5th Hokage of the village. Morning, little Sakura. Uzumaki Naruto forced a smile. Naruto. Haruno Sakura looked at Naruto's state, with a hint of worry in his eyes. Normally, Naruto would play around, but in the last 2 days, Naruto's mood has been very low, because of 3rd Hokage-sama. Super idiot, there will be Hokage after death, and new Hokage will appear. What we have to do is to work hard to gain power. Uchiha Sasuke was carrying a school bag, hands in pockets, and looked at Naruto coldly. He didn't care about the life and death of the 3rd generation, he just wanted to gain power. Uzumaki Naruto was slightly taken aback, with a hint of anger in his eyes. He grabbed Uchiha Sasuke by the collar and roared, "You bastard, take back what you just said. At the end of the crane, do you think that you are very strong now?" Uchiha Sasuke still put his hands in his pockets, looking at Uzumaki Naruto coldly. When fighting against Gaara from Sand Shinobi Village earlier, Sasuke couldn't defeat the one-tail Gaara, but Uzumaki Naruto broke out the fox coat, a dozen shadow clone at the same time, and used Rasengan to defeat the one-tail Gaara in one go. This annoyed Sasuke. What he couldn't do, but Uzumaki Naruto, the tail of the crane, was able to do it. What a joke. From that moment on, Sasuke has been thinking about who is stronger, he or Uzumaki Naruto. Sasuke, Naruto. Hirono Sakura stopped Uzumaki Naruto in a panic. Little Sakura, don't stop me, this time I must teach this stinky guy a lesson. Uzumaki Naruto grabbed Uchiha Sasuke's collar angrily. At the end of the crane, you can't even touch my forehead. Uchiha Sasuke smiled coldly, pointing his thumb to the forehead protector on his forehead. Infighting? You are friends, you should get along well. A mocking voice sounded. Dried persimmon ghost shark appeared behind everyone in the 7th class. Everyone in the 7th class trembled, and a sense of fear emerged in their hearts. Who is this man? What a horrible amount of chakra. Who are you? Uchiha Sasuke leaped back, and with the scarlet three-god jade, Sharingan stared coldly at Hoshigaki Kisame. After seeing Kisame's forehead protector, Uchiha Sasuke frowned slightly. The ninja of Mist Ninja Village. BCBA, there is a scratch on the forehead protector, it should be the ninja of Mist Ninja Village, right? Hirono Sakura and Uzumaki Naruto froze for a moment, and immediately jumped back to keep a safe distance from Hoshigaki Kisame. You are Nine Tails Jinchuriki, right? If you want to avoid the pain of flesh and blood, just follow us obediently. Kisame ignored Uzumaki Naruto, who was playing the emperor with great interest, because Sakura and Sasuke in the 7th class have very little chakra, but Uzumaki Naruto's chakra is so huge that the shark muscles are excited, so at a glance, Kisame decided that Uzumaki Naruto was Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Uzumaki Naruto pointed at Hoshigaki Kisame after hearing being called, Nine Tails Jinchuriki. You blue-skinned bastard, remember that I am Uzumaki Naruto, and I will be Hokage's man, that the strangest people who have appeared recently either call him the container, or the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, hateful. What the fuck Jinchuriki, he is Uzumaki Naruto. Us? Is the target Naruto? Uchiha Sasuke pulled out kunai and stared at Kisame. Us? Means there is someone else. Is the purpose of these guys, Naruto's crane tail? Behind Uchiha Sasuke, 10 indifferent voices sounded. Stupid brother. This voice. Uchiha Sasuke's complexion changed drastically, a trace of cold killing intent appeared in his eyes, and he recalled in his mind the past night of genocide. He never forgot, this cold and indifferent voice, this is his driving force for revenge, and also his hatred-filled ambition. Uchiha, Itachi. Uchiha Sasuke held kunai in his hand, and the voice came from between his teeth. He turned around with kunai angrily, and slashed at Uchiha Itachi. Uzumaki Naruto and Hirono Sakura were slightly taken aback. It was the first time they saw Uchiha Sasuke's angry gaffe. You're too weak now. Uchiha Itachi slapped Sasuke's face hard. Sasuke was sent flying by a slap, his body rolled in the air a few times, and then fell heavily on the bench, shaking the whole bench to collapse. Rasengan. Uchiha Sasuke stood up, a light blue chakra emerged from the palm of his hand, the chakra spun extremely fast, and finally turned into a Rasengan. Uchiha Sasuke, holding Rasengan in hand, attacked Uchiha Itachi angrily. He can now, finally, see Uchiha Itachi again. Just today, he wants revenge. You are worthless now. Uchiha Itachi didn't move, but grabbed Sasuke's wrist with a sudden force. Crunch. Sasuke's wrist breaks, and Rasengan disappears with it. Keep hating me, keep getting stronger, until you have the same eyes as mine. Uchiha Itachi's eyes froze, and the three-god jade in his eyes turned into a Mangekyo Sharingan like a shuriken. Rasengan. Sasuke, you have become stronger. Mr. Lu Sheng, thank you for educating my favorite brother. I'll goog out your eyes and gain further power. Uchiha Itachi kicked Sasuke in the stomach. What's wrong with Mr. Lu Sheng, hasn't shown up yet. The village's reinforcements are too slow. If this continues, I'm afraid Nine Tails Jinchuriki will fall into Jian's hands. Bang. Sasuke was kicked out and rolled several times on the ground. Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Sasuke stood up, clutching his painful wrist, and stared at Itachi angrily. Is the gap that big? I only want revenge, and I have become very strong. Why is there still such an outrageous gap? Strength. In order to revenge, you must get stronger power. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluations, kneel down, kneel down, kneel down. 6-4 icon hashtag 039, T continue acting. Where is Yagyu Satoru? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sasuke. Uzumaki Naruto looked at the embarrassed Sasuke, and then at Uchiha Itachi. There was a hint of anger in his eyes, although he was angry with Sasuke before, but he couldn't tolerate others and hurt his friend. Multiple shadow clone technique. Uzumaki Naruto crossed his hands. Bang! A large white smoke billowed and stirred, and more than 20 shadow clones appeared out of thin air, and all the shadow clones present stood in front of Tezebo Sasuke. I have no family since I was a child, and I can't understand the concept of family. In Uzumaki Naruto's mind, the backs of Yagyu Satoru and Sarutobi Hijon came to mind. But family members should at least feel like teacher Lu Sheng and grandpa third generation. You bastard, you are not qualified to be Sasuke's big brother. You dare to hurt my friend, I don't care who you are, I will beat you down with all my strength. Uzumaki Naruto pointed at Uchiha Itachi in the distance with an angry expression on his face. He can't understand the concept of family, but at least he understands Itachi is not qualified to be Uchiha Sasuke's family. In the eyes of Uzumaki Naruto, Mr. Lu Sheng is more like a big brother than Itachi who will seriously hurt Sasuke. Go away, this is my business. Uchiha Sasuke stood up, pushed away Uzumaki Naruto who was guarding in front of him, and stared at Uchiha Itachi coldly. When Uzumaki Naruto fights Uchiha Itachi, I'm afraid. Will die, he will bear his own affairs, he will bear the hatred alone, there is no need to affect the people around him. Are you still in the mood to chat? Kisame held the big sword shark muscle in his hand, swept all the shadow clone with a sharp knife, and raised his hand to grab Uzumaki Naruto's neck. Fire style great fireball. Uchiha Sasuke made madras with his hands, and spit out a high-temperature flame from his mouth. After the flame landed, it turned into a fireball bigger than an adult. Flames traced the ground, and the raging flames engulfed Hoshigaki Kisame. Dried persimmon ghost blew a breath, and the raging fire was blown away directly, and his whole body was prone to accidental injuries. Even his clothes were not damaged. Everyone in the 7th class looked at Hoshigaki Kisame in disbelief. This shark-like man, caught Sasuke's great fireball with his face, and survived without a hair. Shark bastard. Strong. Seems stronger than that Orochimaru. Mr. Itachi, your younger brother seems to be weaker than you imagined. Kisame held Samehada and slammed it heavily at Uchiha Sasuke. For a moment, Uchiha Itachi disappeared instantly, appeared in front of Sasuke, and punched Sasuke heavily in the abdomen. Cough, cough, cough. Uchiha Sasuke shrank his pupils, spat out a piece of scarlet blood, clutched his painful abdomen, and knelt heavily on the ground. Mr. Itachi, are you afraid that my Samehada will kill your spare eye by mistake? Kisame withdrew Samehada and slapped Uchiha Itachi's back. Mr. Itachi is really bad. In order to get brand new eyes, he would even torture his own younger brother. Stupid brother, if you want to kill me, just hate me, and live ugly. Uchiha Itachi held Sasuke's neck, with a scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan, looking down at the latter with indifference. Why only let me live? Uchiha Sasuke asked angrily. Since he lost everything on the night of genocide, he thought that living was a kind of torture. You hate me, so I will let you live, and you will exist as an opponent for me to confirm myself and my strength. Uchiha Itachi raised his hand and pressed it against Sasuke's eye socket, with a gesture of digging out his eyes. You have the same blood as mine, and your eyes will become my strength. Uchiha Itachi thought to himself, Mr. Lu Sheng, you are too slow. If you continue, I'm afraid Kisame will notice it. Bad man. The corners of Hoshigaki Kisame's mouth raised slightly, revealing shark-like sharp teeth. You bastard, let me go Sasuke. Uzumaki Naruto crossed his hands, and made more than a dozen shadow clones, and all shadow clones rubbed Rasengan at the same time. I will use the Rasengan that Mr. Lu Xing taught me, and beat you all over the place. All shadow clone of Uzumaki Naruto, holding the Rasengan in their hands at the same time, attacked Uchiha Itachi in a siege manner. Monster-like amount of chakra. Kisame held Samehada in his hand, and swept away all the shadow clones with a single blow. Nine Tails Jinchuriki use. After shadow clone can also use a dozen Rasengan at the same time, the amount of chakra is amazing. If it is allowed to grow, it may become trouble for Akatsuki in the future, asking for flowers. Bang! Uzumaki Naruto was blown away with a single blow, his body rolled in the air a few times, and hit the tree trunk heavily. You bastard! Haruno Sakura appeared behind Kisame, holding the Rasengan in his hand and smashed Kisame's head hard. In a moment, Kisame turned around and kicked Haruno Sakura heavily in the abdomen. With a bang heavy kick, Haruno Sakura was kicked out and flew a long distance before landing. Rasengan hit the ground, blasting a small hole in the ground. A trace of fear emerged in the hearts of everyone in the 7th class. They realized the gap in strength between them and the real, strong ones. Class 7 has no power to resist. Magic tree bound kill, space transformation. Everyone present was in a trance. Countless vines rose from the ground, wrapped around Uchiha Itachi's limbs, forming a large tree. 0. Rebellious ninja still has the face to go back to the village. Yuihong came out from the top of the tree, holding kunai in her hand and slashing at Uchiha Itachi's neck. In front of my eyes, nothing makes sense. Uchiha Itachi's eyes narrowed. Pause time. Uchiha Itachi exchanged positions with Kurenai Yuhi, and the person trapped in the big tree became Kurenai Yuhi. Oops. Yuihong's whole body was stiff, and after falling to the ground, her whole body twitched, her eyes were emotionless. She was seconded. Mr. Itachi, what are we going to do with the targets outside of the mission? Kisame held a big sword, Samehada, and glanced faintly at Kurenai Yuhi, who fell to the ground. Task-based. Uchiha Itachi said coldly. Then capture Nine Tails. Kisame walked towards Uzumaki Naruto. Uchiha Itachi had an indifferent attitude on the surface, but he was a little anxious in his heart. What about the strong ones in the village? Where is Mr. Lu Xing? If this continues, Nine Tails will fall into Akatsuki's people. He had heard that Yagyu Satoru was the leader of the 7th class, so he was very relieved to capture Nine Tails, because Yagyu Satoru is strong enough to protect the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. But now, what about the Yagyu Satoru people? It is very troublesome to act in front of dried persimmon ghost shark. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down. Again. 65. The hero comes out last. Yagyu Satoru #039, S imported candy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Haruno Sakura resisted the pain in her abdomen, tightly hugged Kisame's leg, closed her eyes and shouted loudly, Naruto, Sasuke, run. Go away, brat. Kisame slammed Haruno Sakura heavily with the big sword Samehada. With a violent bang blow, cracks appeared on the ground, and Haruno Sakura spat out a mouthful of blood, but still tightly hugged Kisame's leg. Little Sakura. Uzumaki Naruto shrank his pupils, a huge killing intent surged in his heart, his eyes turned pale gold like a fox, and a scarlet chakra emerged from his whole body. You bastard, how dare you hurt little Sakura, I will kill you. Uzumaki Naruto landed on all fours, and 2 chakra appeared behind him, forming red tails. This kid can actually use 9 tails chakra. Kisame swiped in front of Uzumaki Naruto with a broadsword Samehada. The surface of Uzumaki Naruto's skin, the scarlet chakra, was completely engulfed by the masseter muscle. Hiss. Samehada hiccuped, his whole body shaking with excitement. It was very satisfied with 9 tails Chuck 640. Good, so strong. Uzumaki Naruto froze. As soon as he called 9 tails to pay the rent, he was absorbed by the enemy. Run Naruto and find teacher Lu Xing. Haruno Sakura was bleeding all over her body, and she looked extremely embarrassed, but she still hugged the leg of the dried persimmon ghost. You have always protected me before, I will protect you this time too. Did you die for your friends? Let's start with you. Kisame held the big sword Samehada and smashed it heavily on Haruno Sakura's head. Little Sakura, Sasuke. Uzumaki Naruto looked at Sasuke, who fell to the ground with a terrified expression, and then looked at little Sakura, who was seriously injured. How to do? What to do now, Lu? Teacher Lu Xing. When Uzumaki Naruto was flustered, a sentence Lu Xingyu said earlier appeared in his mind. If you are afraid, close your eyes and call for help with the loudest voice. No matter who the enemy is, I am invincible. Uzumaki Naruto closed his eyes and shouted with the loudest voice, Teacher Lu Xing. Yagyu Satoru appeared out of thin air, put his hands in his pockets and kicked at Kisame's abdomen. For a moment, dried persimmon Kisame used the sword muscle as a shield to guard in front of him. Bang! Hoshigaki Kisame was knocked out, and his feet made 2 marks on the ground. It's a heavy force. Xianxia Guishue's arms were numb from the shock, and he showed a smile of interest. Teacher Lu Xing. Everyone in the 7th class was overjoyed, and all the fear in their hearts disappeared with the appearance of Yagyu Satoru. Very reassuring. When Uchiha Itachi saw Yagyu Satoru appear, he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Between Yagyu Satoru's 2 fingers emerged a light blue chakra, lightly touching Yuehong's neck. Yuehong regained consciousness. Yagyu Satoru took out a lollipop, unpacked it, and threw it into his mouth, saying speechlessly, we agreed to watch the show together, but you asked your enemy to send you to death. All of them, Jonin, just watched a play in secret. He wants to take advantage of the spirit of Uchiha Itachi, Kisame, and the 7th class, just in case these little brats are too careless. She clearly agreed to go to the theater together, but Rihong saw that the children in the 7th class were beaten badly, so she couldn't hold back her soft heart and made a move. Then it was seconds. I'm sorry, Lu Xing. Rihong bit her lips, lowered her head slightly, like a child who did something wrong. She thought she could stop Uchiha Itachi, but never expected the gap in strength, too big. You are indeed weak. Before saving people, you must first consider the gap between you and the enemy's strength. Lu Xingyu said. Yuehong replied softly, her white hands slowly clenched into fists, and she also wanted to prove to Yagyu Satoru that she was no worse than Tsunade. But the intention is weak, the strength is too weak. Don't cry, please eat my lollipop. Yagyu Satoru stuffed the lollipop into Yuehong's mouth. Before Yuehong could respond, a lollipop popped into her mouth. Eat my lollipop. Words of tiger and wolf. And Yagyu Satoru, that coaxing tone, very speechless. All right. Who wants to eat yours? Yuehong's words came to an abrupt end, and after taking a sip of the lollipop, a blush appeared on her face, as if steam was rising from the top of her head, and she was stunned. She was indeed dumbfounded, because the lollipop in her mouth was just eaten by Yagyu Satoru. God. Import sugar. Is Inshin giving me a chance? That means I still have a chance. Uzumaki Naruto pointed at Yagyu Satoru, with an angry expression on his face, and shouted, Hey, Mr. Lu Xing, what are you doing there? We were almost killed by the enemy just now. Mr. Lu Xing, have you been watching the theater just now? Uchiha Sasuke covered his aching arm and looked at Yagyu Satoru coldly. He has also been with Yagyu Satoru for a long time, and he has a vague understanding of Lu Xingqing's character. Just now, Yagyu Satoru was probably secretly watching Class 7 being abused, right? That's right, the hero always comes last. Yagyu Satoru pushed his sunglasses and chuckled. I show up at a moment of crisis, it will make me look handsome, right? Everyone in the 7th class was speechless. They feel that teacher Lu Xing is more like pretending than Sasuke. Kisame, you are responsible for dragging Yagyu Satoru. My Sharingan can capture 9 tails more effectively. Uchiha Itachi slowly unbuttoned his clothes, and with the scarlet Sharingan, looked indifferently at Uzumaki Naruto in the distance. Hold on. Mr. Itachi, you are too modest, let me finish him in one go. Kisame held the big knife Samehada in his hand, and jumped heavily towards Yagyu Satoru. "Are you still there?" Yagyu Satoru raised a finger, and the sword muscle seemed to stop before Yagyu Satoru's fingertips. Boom! Two huge cracks appeared on both sides behind Yagyu Satoru, but the place where he was standing was the only one intact. "I was hit by your toy, what will happen to me?" Yagyu Satoru looked at the big sword shark like a living thing lightly. "While protecting Jinchuriki, and at the same time being our enemy, you can still be so calm." Kisame licked the corner of his mouth with a cruel smile on his face. Shark Muscle was so excited for the first time. In other words, Yagyu Satoru's chakra is more delicious than Uzumaki Naruto's Jinchuriki. "It's okay, you can fight as you like." Yagyu Satoru raised his chin slightly, smiled frivolously, with a sense of sarcasm, and said, "After all, you are very weak." Everyone in the 7th class was slightly stunned, with disbelief on their faces, looking at Hoshigaki Kisame, who was exuding a dangerous aura all over his body. Their 7th squad was completely abused, and even the strength of 9 tails was meaningless in front of Kisame. Teacher Shihihong was also killed in seconds. Are these people weak? How is this possible? No matter which angle you look at, Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame, these two are at least Hokage-level powerhouses. Teacher Lu Xing would actually say that these two strong Kage-levels are weak. Dried Persimmon Ghost 3.2 Shark looked at Yagyu Satoru in a daze, with a playful and frivolous expression on his face. He has been in the ninja world for many years, and this is the first time he has met such an arrogant person. He and Uchiha Itachi are solid Kage-level powerhouses. Yagyu Satoru actually said that the two Akatsuki members are weak. Arrogant. Ignorance. Even the leader of the Shao organization has no confidence to say that they are weak. But this guy Yagyu Satoru, dare to say it. Arrogant guy. Hoshigaki Kisame jumped back, slowly unbuttoned Hongyun's coat, and then left the coat on the ground. "Mr. Itachi, please don't do anything, I will tell this hippie smiling guy what a frog in a well is." Water style. Explosive water and waves. Xiancher Guisha clasped his hands together, and spit out a large and vast ocean wave from his mouth. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down. 66, Kisame #039, S full strength, and Yagyu Satoru #039, S peculiar ability. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Booming huge waves rise from the ground, rolling and beating violently, destroying everything they pass, and covering the entire park in an instant. Although it is a B-level water style, but with the amount of chakra of the dried persimmon demon and the level of chakra, the range of this move can be described as very outrageous. There's a lot of chakra. Yagyu Satoru didn't move, just staring at the infinitely approaching huge waves. The giant wave hovered in front of Yagyu Satoru as if standing still, and then split into two huge waves, passing around Luxing Bridge. Good, so strong. Yuihong used chakra to stand on the surface of the waves, watching the huge waves covering the entire park, with a hint of shock in her eyes. Can you still use such a wide range of water style out of thin air? This shark-like man's strength is a bit outrageous. She can conclude that in the whole village, there is not a single ninja whose water style can reach the level of dried persimmon ghost shark. Even a few jonins working together couldn't create a huge wave that could destroy the entire park. Teacher Lu Xing, help. Uzumaki Naruto was blown away by the huge waves, and now he has no strength at all. Using chakra to stand on the water, everyone in the 7th class was shot away. Earth style, Earth 12 flowing city wall. Yagyu Satoru held a lollipop in his mouth, put his hands in his pockets and stepped lightly on the ground. Boom! The earth shook, and a huge soil rose up from the ground, like a city wall, lifting up the people of the 7th class and Shihihong. Cough, cough, cough. Uzumaki Naruto sat on the dirt wall, coughing violently as he was choked by the waves, and stared viciously at Hoshigaki Kisame in the distance. Come on, Teacher Lu Xing, I'll teach them a lesson. I almost thought I was going to die. Haruno Sakura breathed a sigh of relief, clutching his painful abdomen, watching the waves covering the entire park, with a deep look of fear in his eyes. Is this water style? Does water style have such a wide range? This is high done. Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Sasuke gritted his teeth, staring at Uchiha Itachi coldly with a scarlet Sharingan. Why is there such a big gap? Hatred and loathing, only by falling into darkness can one become stronger. What's the matter with this guy? He can use earth style without seals. Kanshi Kisame was startled slightly. He just saw that when Yagyu Satoru launched earth style, 10 seals were not formed, kind of outrageous, but so what? Hoshigaki Kisame erupted a huge chakra, and just the outburst of chakra caused the 7th squad, Kurini Yuhi and others to panic. This amount of chakra is stronger than 3rd Hokage. Thousands of food shark. The dried persimmon ghost shark bit his finger, and slapped the surface of the waves heavily. Bang! A large cloud of white smoke appeared in the waves, and 1,000 large sharks appeared out of thin air, swimming quickly in the waves. Yagyu Satoru, you have to be careful. Kisame's mouth slightly raised, showing a cold smile. These sharks absorb chakra and don't disappear until they kill you completely. This move is dried persimmon ghost shark. Apart from the fusion with shark muscles, it is currently the most dangerous and most offensive move, capable of absorbing all attacks that contain chakra. These sharks also grow bigger after feeding on chakra. It is very rogue capable, dragging the attacks of Kage-Level powerhouses to death. The core of a ninja is chakra, and most people's physical skills can't beat 1,000 sharks, so this trick is unsolvable. Boom! All the sharks swam quickly and attacked Yagyu Satoru together in a siege manner. Teacher Lu Sheng. Everyone in Class 7 exclaimed. In view of everyone, a large group of sharks surrounded Yagyu Satoru, but none of the sharks could touch Yagyu Satoru's skin. Really, it's quite an interesting move. Yagyu Satoru sipped the lollipop lightly, raised his hand and touched the shark's small head. How is it possible? What kind of blood successor is this guy? Kisame's face changed drastically, and he looked at Yagyu Satoru who was surrounded by sharks in disbelief. Sharks can't get close to Yagyu Satoru, and can't absorb Yagyu Satoru's chakra. If Yagyu Satoru's peculiar defense is the ability of the blood succession limit, it should be absorbed by the shark, but what's the matter? Could it be that, dried persimmon? Kisame's pupils shrank, and there was a look of shock in his eyes. Are you not using chakra? That if Yagyu Satoru didn't use chakra, what is the invisible defense? Another power? How is this possible? Spell reversal, heh. Yagyu Satoru raised 2 fingers, and a dark black imaginary substance emerged from his fingertips. The dark black matter flew out, and the impact force like a supernova formed a huge repulsive force, flying everything around. Bang! All the sharks turned into white smoke and disappeared completely out of thin air. Your moves are very interesting. Is there anything more interesting? Yagyu Satoru put his hands in his pockets, looked at Hoshigaki Kisame in the distance through black sunglasses. He really thinks that Tianchi Gisan's moves are quite interesting, but that's about it. It's just interesting. Hurry up, Kisame. Uchiha Itachi stood on the tree trunk, looking down at Kisame with scarlet eyes indifferently. Mr. Lu Sheng is still so strong. To defeat Mr. Lu Sheng, I'm afraid Kage-Level illusion is needed. Mr. Itachi, this kid's strength is very strange, any attack can't get close to him. Kanshi Kisame looked at the calm Yagyu Satoru with a puzzled expression. He is really hard to understand, Lu Sheng's peculiar area. 777. Are you curious? It's okay to tell you. Yagyu Satoru smiled lightly. There is a limit to his spell power, so after telling the enemy about his ability will increase in a short time. As soon as this statement came out, everyone in the audience was slightly startled, and then everyone pricked up their ears, waiting for Yagyu Satoru's next words, not to mention Kisame and Itachi. Even the members of Class 7 are very curious about Yagyu Satoru's ability. Tell the enemy the secret on your own initiative. Arrogant kid. Gonsha Gueshue sneered, with a hint of sarcasm attached to his smile. He has never met such a crazy person as Yagyu Satoru, volunteering to tell the enemy a secret. Madness. It's okay, it's useless to tell you. Yagyu Satoru raised his index finger and thumb, likening a fingertip cosmic gesture, and chuckled, "The distance between you and me is infinite." Everyone present was stunned, especially Uzumaki. Naruto was stunned and his mind was full of question marks. Unlimited? I don't understand at all. Shake hands. Yagyu Satoru raised his palm and shook it. Do you think I'm stupid? Kisame stared at Yagyu Satoru vigilantly without moving. Shake hands with an enemy? This Yagyu Satoru is simply fooling around. I'm afraid there is a hidden mystery. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down. 67. Field Expansion, Boundless Space. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Don't be afraid, just shake hands. Yagyu Satoru glanced at Uihong in the distance, then put his hand to his mouth, and said in a whisper, I'll tell you secretly, the idiot Xiaohong wants to shake my hand in her dreams. Everyone in the 7th class looked at Shihong strangely. Uihong retorted, no. It's not murderous, let's try it. Kisame frowned slightly, and after a moment of hesitation, he walked towards Yagyu Satoru. He felt Yagyu Satoru, without the slightest murderous intent, should be no problem, right? What's more, it will be very convenient to be close to Yagyu Satoru. If you want to shake hands, be bold, and you will be hated by duplicity. Yagyu Satoru pointed at Hoshigaki Kisame's heart with a lollipop. Dried persimmon ghost secretly said in his heart, this Yagyu Satoru's character is too capable of mischief, chatting and laughing with the enemy. There is no sense of crisis at all. Kisame raised his hand and held it towards Yagyu Satoru's hand. His hand could not touch Yagyu Satoru as if blocked by a wall. Hoshigaki Kisame looked puzzled. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't touch Yagyu Satoru. It's like being cut off by an invisible force. Look, the distance between you and me is infinite. No matter how hard you try, you can't cross this gap. Yagyu Satoru held Kisame's hand. The two intertwined their fingers. But I can touch you. Yagyu Satoru raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and his tone was quite erotic. Everyone in the 7th class wanted to complain, but they didn't say it in the end. Teacher Lu Xing's way of speaking is too perverted. It would be fine if it was a beautiful woman, but the other party is Hoshigaki Kisame. Vomit. You bastard, let me go. Kanshi Kisame felt a sense of crisis in his heart, and planned to withdraw his hand immediately, but was held firmly by Yagyu Satoru. Don't be shy, let's get along well. Yagyu Satoru pulled out his hand in his pocket, covered his fist with unlimited power, and hit Kisame heavily in the abdomen. Bang! Hoshigaki Kisame was punched, his abdomen was sunken, his internal organs were trembling violently, and a large amount of blood spit out from his mouth. The blood-red blood suspended in front of Yagyu Satoru's skin as if still, then flowed to both sides and rolled down to the ground. Shark muscle breathing chi cut. After the reaction, the dried persimmon ghost shark held the big knife Samahata, and the bandage on the surface of Samahata slipped off, turning into a big mouth like a living thing, biting Shirlu fiercely. Shark muscle seemed to be at rest, floating in front of Yagyu Satoru, completely unable to touch Yagyu Satoru. Don't you understand? In short, you can't touch me with any attack, but I can attack you all the time. It's a rascal, right? Yagyu Satoru punched Hoshigaki Kisame heavily in the abdomen several times a second. Bang bang bang. With several punches in one breath, Hoshigaki Kisame was sent flying, and after flying a long distance, he hit the ground heavily, spitting out a mouthful of scarlet blood. His internal organs were torn. Okay. So strong. Kisame stared at Yagyu Satoru blankly with blood on the corner of his mouth and a bewildered expression. He was completely stunned by the beating, because his brain couldn't function for a while. He had heard that Yagyu Satoru had the strongest blood succession boundary, so he always wanted to compete with Yagyu Satoru. When Uchiha Itachi asked him to stop Yagyu Satoru just now, he was very excited at that time, thinking that he finally had the opportunity to fight Yagyu Satoru. With a test mentality, he played a few rounds with Yagyu Satoru, and then gradually began to realize how serious the problem was. Yagyu Satoru is ridiculously strong. This man seems to have a harmless smile on his face, but in fact he has a very bad personality. Talking and laughing with the enemy calmly. Wrong, Yagyu Satoru is playing with the enemy. Giving hope to the enemy is inflicting violence on the enemy, smiling tiger. Kisame looked confused, staring at Uchiha Itachi in the distance. Mr. Itachi, you should know the strength of Yagyu Satoru, right? Knowing Yagyu Satoru's strength, I was actually asked to stop Yagyu Satoru. Is this, asking me to die? This pupil power, why is he watching in secret? In the distance, Uchiha Itachi frowned slightly, and he sensed a strong pupil force in the dark. This pupil power is the real leader of the Akatsuki organization, the masked man Uchiha Madara. Things got complicated. At first, he planned to use Yagyu Satoru to solve Hoshigaki Kisame, and then failed to capture Nine Tails and return to Akatsuki. If he was watching a play, he might arouse the suspicion of the masked man. At that time, if the masked man becomes suspicious, it may affect the final plan. Uchiha Itachi looked at Sasuke in the distance with an indifferent expression on his face. Sorry, Mr. Lu Sheng. I have to act now, if not Nine Tails, then Hoshigaki Kisame. Mr. Lu Sheng, your blood inheritance limit is indeed a very strange ability. Uchiha Itachi jumped and landed in front of Yagyu Satoru. But you have a fatal weakness. It's my eyes, you can't defend against hallucinations. Uchiha Itachi's eyes were fixed, and the three hooks in his eyes turned into Mangekyo like a shuriken. Lu Sheng, let me help you. Yuihong pulled out kunai and was about to attack Uchiha Itachi. She knew that there was a big gap in strength, but compared to her own stability, she was worried about Lu. She also knows Yagyu Satoru's weakness. Yagyu Satoru's blood successor boundary cannot defend against illusion attacks. Uzumaki Naruto wondered, is there a code for illusion? There will be. Yagyu Satoru sipped the lollipop lightly, and looked at Uchiha Itachi lightly, that shuriken-like Mangekyo. The hallucination attack is indeed effective. The most advanced illusions, such as Tsukuyomi, are more effective. Tsukuyomi, it's really effective. Yagyu Satoru said, his six-eyed passive is omnidirectional, so even with his eyes closed, he will hit Uchiha Itachi's Tsukuyomi. Hold it, it's very expensive. Yagyu Satoru took off his sunglasses, revealing a pair of pale blue pupils, and he threw the sunglasses back. After the sunglasses flew out, they landed in Shihong's hand. Everyone in the 7th class looked puzzled and looked at Yagyu Satoru's, Chien Niheo, eyes, because Yagyu Satoru usually wears a pair of sunglasses. This is the first time for everyone in class 7 to see Yagyu Satoru's eyes. Haruno Sakura muttered subconsciously, what beautiful eyes. Excuse me, Mr. Lu Sheng, this is the power of Uchiha. Uchiha Itachi covered his left eye, his right eye was slightly fixed, and the shuriken in his eye was turning. Tsukuyomi. Uchiha Itachi's right eye was bleeding, and he planned to flee the village with dried persimmon ghosts after this trick. After all, Uchiha Madara, the masked man, watched everything in secret, so he had to make a symbolic appearance no matter what. Smelly brats, keep your eyes open, I will only perform once. Yagyu Satoru raised his hand and crossed his index and middle fingers. This is power beyond the range of ninjas. The field unfolds, infinite space. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, to kneel down. Tool. 68, the inner side with no lower limit, one move to solve the Kage-Level strong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yagyu Satoru was in a trance for a moment, and the world in front of him changed drastically. In the blood-red sky and the dark-red land, large crows can be seen everywhere, gnawing at the corpses all over the mountains and plains. This is Tsukuyomi's fictional world, and everything in Tsukuyomi's world is manipulated by Uchiha Itachi at will, but just a moment before the world of Tsukuyomi opened. Uchiha Itachi was pulled into a unique space like the interior of the universe. The endless day covered the sky, and the dark black nothingness connected, the whole unique space. Behind Uchiha Itachi, there is an extremely huge black and white eye like a black hole. Is this the result? That everyone in the 7th class was suspended in the sky, and they looked at the entire interior space without a lower limit with a dazed expression, power beyond the scope of the ninja world. What is the field, and what is the starless space? It was the first time for the 3 of the 7th class to see such a strange and incomprehensible move. Should be an ability similar to enchantment, right? Yuhi Honglu raised her eyebrows slightly, her jewel-like bright red eyes curiously looked at the day and nothingness, forming a unique space. It was also the first time for her to see such a strange move. At the very first moment, she thought that this peculiar domain was a hypothetical space formed by hallucinations, but chakra is very stable, without the slightest confusion. So if the possibility of hallucination is excluded, then this should be the end, but the problem is, the enchantment is an isolated space, and there is no way to pull people into it. A unique space field. This trick has no place in the starry sky, and it is far away from all the results. If barriers and illusions are excluded, how to explain the infinite space? Shi Hihong was very puzzled. She was well informed, but she had never seen such a strange move as boundless space. This is the interior with no lower limit. Yagyu Satoru took a sip of the lollipop, and looked at Uchiha Itachi in the distance with a faint smile. He didn't explain too much, because explaining the concept of no lower limit would be super troublesome. Mr. Lu Sheng, you are indeed very powerful, and you can counteract my Tsukimi. Uchiha Itachi was suspended in the air, without any sensation in his whole body, and he couldn't even move his fingers slightly. Feel everything, can't do anything. BCAI, Uchiha Itachi chakra is stable, no signs of being hit by hallucinations. He can feel now, all the concepts in the world, from the birth of a person to the growth of saplings. Endless information pours into the brain. In the interior with no lower limit, he can feel everything. Even though he is endowed with everything, he can't do anything. The huge information of 0.1 second caused Uchiha Itachi to stop thinking. It's sad to know everything but feel powerless, isn't it? Yagyu Satoru grabbed Uchiha Itachi's head, with a frivolous smile on his face. With a hint of sarcasm, he intends to finish Uchiha Itachi with one blow. Just when Yagyu Satoru was about to pull out Uchiha Itachi's brain, the movement of his hands paused slightly, and he glanced at Uchiha Sasuke in the distance. Almost forgot, this wild dog that kills father and mother is the driving force for Uchiha Xiaowei to become stronger. Uchiha Itachi can be solved at any time, so let's save it for the time being. Uchiha Kid as experience pack. After all, hatred is one of the driving forces that make people stronger. There are no realms in the ninja world, so no one can handle it, and Lu lives in a starless place. What's more, in addition to infinite space, Yagyu Satoru has further strength. After the Uchiha Kid becomes strong and self-reliant, he can truly relax. It's worth keeping you. Congratulations on saving your life. Yagyu Satoru let go of his hand and patted Uchiha Itachi on the shoulder. Yagyu Satoru's seal changes. OM disappeared completely without a lower limit, and the 7th class and others returned to the park. Uchiha Itachi fell to the ground. His face was expressionless, his eyes had no emotion, and his mind kept flashing with useless knowledge. Before he digested the useless knowledge in his brain, he couldn't think on his own. Uchiha Obito, hurry up and take someone away. Yagyu Satoru pressed his foot on the back of Uchiha Itachi's head, causing the latter's face to rub against the ground. Uchiha, everyone in Class 7 was startled slightly. Haruno Sakura and Uzumaki Naruto subconsciously looked at Sasuke. Teacher Lu Xing shouted, "Who is Uchiha Obito?" If I remember correctly, there are only 2 people left in the Uchiha clan, Sasuke and Itachi, right? Uchiha Obito? Yuhi Hong's face changed slightly. She knew who Uchiha Obito was. He was a student of 4th Hokage and a friend of Kakashi, but the problem is Uchiha Obito. Is he already dead? Why would Yagyu Satoru specifically mention a long-dead person? Yui Hong's little head was a little confused. Teacher Lu Sheng, what do you mean? Uchiha Sasuke clenched his fist and stared at Yagyu Satoru coldly. He does care though, who Uchiha Obito is, but what he is more concerned about now is that Teacher Lu Sheng seems to be planning to let Uchiha Itachi go. Don't get excited, you can kill him now if you want. Yagyu Satoru picked up a handful of kunai and threw it in front of Uchiha Sasuke. Let's do it. Yagyu Satoru grabbed Uchiha Itachi's hair, lifted Itachi, and shook it, and said lightly, "Your most beloved teacher Lu Xing helped you complete the revenge." Yagyu Satoru looked at Uchiha Sasuke in the distance. To complete revenge by the hands of others, the Uchiha kid will lose the meaning of being strong and alive. Uchiha Sasuke held kunai and stared at Uchiha Itachi angrily with his scarlet three-tomo Sharingan. A picture of the night of the genocide appeared in his mind. Parents died tragically and clan members were killed. He is an avenger and must use the death of Uchiha Itachi to pay homage to the dead clansmen. This is the only motivation for his life. Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Sasuke ran towards Uchiha Itachi with kunai in his hand, in Uchiha Sasuke's ear, recalling what Lu Xingyu said just now. Teacher Lu Xing, help you complete your revenge. Pause time. Who? Uchiha Sasuke stopped suddenly, and the sharp kunai stopped in front of Itachi's neck. He was breathing heavily and emotionally. Rationality and hatred alternated infinitely. What is the meaning of his life if he completes his revenge through the hands of others? Don't hesitate. If you want revenge, do it. It is revenge if you borrow someone else's hand to complete your revenge. Yagyu Satoru shook Itachi, with a faint smile of mockery, and looked at the hesitant Uchiha Sasuke in front of him. If you don't have the strength, rely on me, and I will solve Uchiha Itachi immediately. He was speaking ironically, mocking Uchiha Sasuke. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down. 6-9 Uchiha Obito is still alive. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The knife is in your hand, and the person is in my hand. As a teacher, I will give you a piece of advice. Yagyu Satoru looked down at Sasuke indifferently, and said in a deep voice, using someone else's hand to fulfill your ambition will make you incompetent all your life. If you complete your revenge before you become stronger, is there any point in your life? I'll show you the way, you can choose which way to go. Yagyu Satoru said, he can do it without being serious, and he can abuse Uchiha Itachi, but if Sasuke borrows his hand to fulfill his ambition of revenge, what is left in Sasuke's life? Lost the motivation to become stronger, lost the meaning of living, will become a shell of a beloved. Teacher Lu Xing, please give me strength, I will become stronger with hatred. Uchiha Sasuke let go of his hand, and kunai slid to the ground. Looking at Yagyu Satoru in front of him with a cold expression, he finally decided to bear all the hatred, gain powerful power, and solve Uchiha Itachi by himself. Remember the feeling of being abused, remember the gap in strength, they will become your motivation. Lu Xingyu smiled meaningfully. But if you want to become stronger, it depends on my mood. Yagyu Satoru teased, if you can learn the seduction of a fox kid, I will teach you the further spiral one. He was joking, but now Uchiha Sasuke, who can even fall into darkness in order to gain further power, has decided that he can only get Li Huang. You can give anything. That's right, Uchiha Sasuke took it seriously. Li Huang stared blankly at Yagyu Satoru in the distance, biting his lips and muttering, Lu Xing, she has always believed that students are children in need of care, so she is always there, helping the students to do what to do, and never instructing the students on what to do. If you compare her to a doting parent, then Lu Xingyu is the guiding light for the students. Point out the way to the students and let the students choose by themselves. Teaching a man to fish is worse than giving him a fish. Gap. Kurenai Yuhi realizes the huge gap between her and Yagyu Satoru as teachers. Obito, stop pretending, I can see you. Yagyu Satoru put his hand to his mouth and looked towards the direction of the lake in the distance. Everyone in the audience was stunned. They looked at the lake one after another, and they didn't even see the shadow. The lake is empty. Who is teacher Lu Xing talking to? Haunted. Haunted. Uzumaki Naruto's complexion changed drastically, and fear appeared in his eyes. He has been most afraid of ghosts since he was a child. The space twists into a spiral, and a man wearing a spiral mask stands on the lake. He is wearing a black coat embroidered with red clouds, and only one eye is exposed from the mask. Sharingan. Itachi's Tsukimi can't do anything against you. Your current strength is indeed the ceiling of the ninja world. Uchiha Obito's attitude is very calm, a plain Sharingan, beating Yagyu Satoru in the distance. He never imagined that Yagyu Satoru could beat Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame, two solid Kage-Level powerhouses. This strength is currently the ceiling of the ninja world. Even Uchiha Obito will admit from the bottom of his heart that Lu Xingyu is the current ceiling fact. Don't be so humble, your ability is also bad. Yagyu Satoru threw Uchiha Itachi, and then threw Obito in the distance. He knew Uchiha Obito's ability, in a sense it was also an absolute defense. Kamui, Hollow is a rogue, but also has many weaknesses. Take this wild dog away, he will become a tool for my students to become stronger. Yagyu Satoru said. Uchiha Obito asked in a deep voice, Yagyu Satoru, how many secrets do you really know? It stands to reason that, except for the dead Uchiha Madara, no one in the whole ninja world can know his true identity, but why would Yagyu Satoru know that he is Obito? Very strange. For example, yours is only 2 inches in size. Yagyu Satoru raised his little finger and looked at Uchiha Obito with disgust. The corner of Uchiha Obito's mouth moved slightly. It's all right, don't be discouraged. Yagyu Satoru sipped the lollipop lightly, raised his chin slightly, and said with a mocking smile, although mine is enough to bend your waist, it will make you feel inferior. The 6 eyes have perspective. I'll take Uchiha Itachi away. You didn't intend to give that guy to me, did you? Uchiha Obito carried Itachi, with him as the core. The space twisted into a spiral, and he glanced at the fainted Hoshigaki Kisame in the distance. The little shark has no value, so he will die here. Yagyu Satoru clasped his hands together, and the dried persimmon ghost shark appeared at his feet. Uchiha Itachi will make Sasuke stronger, so it is worth living, but the little shark has no value, so it will die here. Humph, your character is really bad. Uchiha Obito glanced coldly at Yagyu Satoru, who completely disappeared with the distorted space. Ask for flowers. Fighting against Yagyu Satoru now is almost a certainty of defeat. Let's retreat for now. As for the lost members, we can only find ways to make up for them. Haruno Sakura fell to the ground, wiped the cold sweat off his brow, let out a long breath, and said, Phew, the enemy is finally gone. Cut, you bastard. Uzumaki Naruto folded his hands in front of his chest and said with an arrogant expression, if I didn't run away, I would definitely teach them 10 times. The person just now has the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan. Who is he? Uchiha Sasuke was very puzzled. It stands to reason that after Uchiha was exterminated, only he and Itachi remained in Uchiha. Why is there still a third person now? Uchiha Obito. Yagyu Satoru said. Who is Uchiha Obito? Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his pockets and looked at Yagyu Satoru with a cold face. Smelly brat, don't ask nonsense, he is Uchiha Obito. Lu Xingqiao said in disgust. Ask who is Uchiha Obito? The name is there, and he even asks who it is. When I didn't ask. Uchiha Sasuke was speechless. Of course he knew it was Uchiha Obito, but the question is Uchiha Obito? In short, Uchiha Obito was one of the accomplices in the genocide, Yagyu Satoru said. 1. Does it mean there is someone else? Uchiha Sasuke stared at Yagyu Satoru with a gloomy face, and asked in a cold voice, tell me who else is there. Smelly brat, as a teacher, he respects the old and loves the young. How could he teach such an impolite student like you? Yagyu Satoru pretended to be speechless. His teacher respects the old and loves the young, but why are the students he taught more rude than the other? Everyone in the 7th class, Shirihong and others were speechless. They secretly complained in their hearts, respect the old and love the young. When did Yagyu Satoru respect the old and love the young? One mouthful is an old man Sarutobi, and one mouthful is an old dog Danzo. Even a 12-year-old child can be punched and kicked. Uchiha Sasuke suppressed the anger in his heart, gritted his teeth and said with a long breath, Teacher Lu Sheng, please tell me. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, to Neil. How many? 70 perspective, everything can be seen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What to do, I can tell you. Yagyu Satoru rubbed 3 fingers together, and said with a half-smile, Your most beloved teacher Lu Sheng, my wallet is a little empty recently. Uchiha kid, do you have a good way to fill up my wallet? If there is, I can tell you. He knew that the Uchiha kid had no money, so he said that on purpose, because Sasuke now, it's too early to know this. Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his pockets, touched the empty wallet, and snorted coldly when he found that he had no money. Humph. Everyone in the 7th class secretly said, do all adults have this face? Asking money from a 12-year-old child, Mr. Lu Sheng is really good at it. It's good that you didn't die this time. Yagyu Satoru glanced at Haruno Sakura, and he saw Haruno Sakura, who was hit hard by the shark muscle. If Hoshigaki Kisame had been serious from the beginning, everyone in Class 7 would surely die. Certainly, he will prevent this kind of thing from happening in 977. Uzumaki Naruto pointed at Yagyu Satoru and shouted angrily, bastard, you have the nerve to say that we were beaten badly. And you are watching the show. Don't say that, it's a good thing to be alive. Yagyu Satoru waved his hand and said with a light smile, come here, I'll treat you. Everyone in the 7th class is speechless. Is it a good thing to be alive? Is this what the teacher should say? Soon, Yagyu Satoru finished treating the 7th class. Little Hong, teach the stinky shark to the torture department, and you should be able to get some information. Yagyu Satoru kicked Kisame Kaki, who flew out and landed in front of Hong Yuhi. As for this knife. Yagyu Satoru picked up the big knife Samahata, and lightly looked at the shark muscle that was as sharp as a hedgehog. The passiveness of his 6 eyes can see through the roots of everything. A strange seal is engraved on the inside of the sword muscle. This seal can devour chakra and transfer it to the user. Said knife is more like a living summoning beast. Boring toys, let's sell them for money. Yagyu Satoru pinched his chin and muttered earnestly, it should be able to blackmail the village astronomically. The gold content of the beheading sword cannot be compared with that of shark muscles. Among the 7 ninja swords in Mist Ninja Village, Samahata is a special existence, selling the shark muscles to one in village. Even if Terumi Mei knew she was cheated, she would be happy to buy Samahata at a high price. Starting with 100 million yuan, it should be able to sell for about 200 million yuan. Broadsword Samahata is a toy. Good thing you can say it. Even if it was Shihihong, she couldn't hold back her complaints. I heard that the big sword Samahata is the strongest symbol among the 7 ninja swordsmen. Countless people in Mist Ninja Village dream of getting this big sword shark muscle, and Yagyu Satoru actually disliked it. The big sword shark muscle is a toy. It's outrageous, Yagyu Satoru pretended to be thinking, and said seriously, in the eyes of ordinary ninjas, this knife should be very strong, right? That with his strength, it is really impossible to understand how powerful the big sword shark muscle is, because he is a strong hexagon. He can attack, speed, defense, treatment, self-healing and so on. Ordinary ninja. Kurenai Yuhi slowly clenched her small fist, with a hint of anger in her eyes, as if there was black air coming from behind her. She really wanted to bite Yagyu Satoru hard. It's true that she likes Yagyu Satoru, but is there such a mockery? Yuihong bit the stick of the lollipop lightly, forcibly suppressed the anger in her heart, gave Yagyu Satoru an angry white look, and hummed, that's right, in front of such a powerful person like you, we are one, just an ordinary little ninja. We little ninjas have already done our best to survive the mission. It's not like Mr. Lu Sheng, you are free and easy all day long, molesting this girl and molesting that girl. Yuihong recalled the scene of Yagyu Satoru molesting other women in normal times, and jealousy rose from the bottom of her heart. It's really powerful to be merciful. After Shihong finished speaking, she turned her head and snorted coldly, humph. Everyone in the 7th class was slightly startled, and looked at Shihong with doubts on their faces. Teacher Hong has a strong personality and is usually a heroic and strong woman. She is an existence that many girls in the village yearn for, so, Teacher Hong, what's going on now? Haruno Sakura thought about it seriously. She had seen similar scenes before. At that time, her parents were divorcing and her mother insisted on returning to her hometown. That picture is exactly the same as now. Could it be that, after thinking of a possibility, Haruno Sakura looked at Kurenai Yuhi with an expression of 8 trigrams, and then at Yagyu Satoru? Could it be that Mr. Hong likes Mr. Lu Sheng? You still have a stick in your mouth after eating candy, which era are you, slut? Yagyu Satoru glanced at Yuihong, with a lollipop stick in his mouth. I forgot, it's all because you've been messing around. Yuihong blushed slightly, eyes showing embarrassment, and hurriedly dropped the lollipop stick on the ground. What Yagyu Satoru didn't say, she really forgot, finished eating Yagyu Satoru's imported candy, and then still had a lollipop stick in his mouth. It's too embarrassing. What do you mean by the 2 inches in the area just now, and the coils? Yuhi Hong changed the subject and threw the sunglasses to Yagyu Satoru. Yagyu Satoru put on sunglasses, put his hand on Yuhi Hong's shoulder, and whispered in his ear, "You should know that I can see through." "I know." Before Yuhi Hong finished speaking, she suddenly remembered that Yagyu Satoru could see through, and a trace of shame and anger appeared in her eyes. Perspective, in other words, Yagyu Satoru can see all the women in the village. No wonder there were some little bitches who seduced Yagyu Satoru in the past, but Yagyu Satoru had an attitude of no interest. Feelings are enough. "Turn over there, don't look at me." Yuhi Hong subconsciously folded her legs, covered her delicate body with her hands, and glared at Yagyu Satoru with a blushing face. "Don't be shy." Yagyu Satoru whispered in Yuhi Hong's ear, pretending to be very erotic, "Black suits you very well. His clairvoyance is more omnipotent than white eyes, adjust the perspective so you can see everything. It's a fun joke, let's come here for it." Yagyu Satoru clapped his hands, looked at the 7th class, and said, "Let's go, brats, it's time to go. Oh, I can finally go out of the village again." Uzumaki Naruto cheered excitedly, and he was looking forward to taking a stroll outside the village. "Idiot, we are out of the village to perform a mission, do you think we are going to play?" Uchiha Sasuke snorted coldly. "Of course I know, you bastard." Uzumaki Naruto said unhappily. Haruno Sakura looked at the 7th class who had returned to normal, and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. "Thank you, Mr. Lu Sheng. Without Mr. Lu Sheng, it would be very difficult for Class 7 to survive. After all, Sasuke and Naruto almost hit 2.8 today. Don't look at little Sakura, she's still a child." Kurenai Yuhi hugged Yagyu Satoru's face, forcing her to look away. "Haruno Sakura is still a 12-year-old girl, a 12-year-old child. Is it okay to be covered by Lu Sheng?" "What?" Haruno Sakura tilted her head in confusion. "A slit of a brat, what's so interesting?" Yagyu Satoru said speechlessly. "Anyway, tell the people in the village to prepare banners to meet Xiaojiang." After Yagyu Satoru finished speaking, the 3 of them picked up the 7th class and disappeared out of thin air. A slit. After reacting, Yuhi Hong clenched her fists with a blushing expression and shouted loudly, "Lu Sheng, you are so annoying. Every time she talks to Yagyu Satoru, she ends up getting fucked, angry and shy. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down."